today's video I'm going to show you how to turn these gooseberries into a lovely thick gooseberry jam with one secret ingredient. All you're going to need is some gooseberries, some water, granulated sugar and a secret ingredient just to enhance the flavour of the jam. Let's get on and make the jam. First job we need to do for the gooseberry jam is topping and tailing. So on the gooseberry you've got the tail end and then you've got the stem end. So I just use my nail to pinch it out. There is another way of doing it, but I feel like you're losing too much of the gooseberry, but I'll show you. So the other way of topping and tailing is to get a sharp knife and then to cut like so. So you're effectively cutting both ends. But if you just pinch out the stem itself, you'll see that there's no stalk left in it that way anyway. So that's how I've always been taught to do it. So you just use that and then put your nail in like so. These have already been rinsed, so I'm just going to crack on and finish doing the rest of these. It is a bit of a tedious job, but the stems will not be good. We don't want them in the jam, so just got to get it done. I do think this is a quicker way of doing it than trying to use a knife. Got 1 kilogram of gooseberries. I've also got some held back to make a gooseberry crumble as well. So we've got our kilo of gooseberries ready to go, and then to a pan we're going to add 250 ml of water, which is what we're going to use to stew down the gooseberries. So we're just going to chuck in all the gooseberries and get that heating. It's going to take about 10 to 15 minutes to cook down the gooseberries. I still missed one of the stalks. A really simple, easy recipe to follow because all it requires is 250 ml of water, 1 kilogram of gooseberries, 1 kilogram of granulated sugar, and as a bonus extra, just because I think it gives it a nice little bit of flavour, for every kilogram we're making we're going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. We want proper extract, just gives it a lovely kind of ice creamy back note flavour to the sharpness of the gooseberries and the sweetness of the sugar, which I think is perfect. The gooseberries stewed down to quite what can effectively be a bit of a, described as a mush. We're now going to add 1 kilogram of sugar, stirring it whilst we add it in. It's a 50-50 ratio of sugar to gooseberries. I like to use 1 kilogram because you can buy 1 kilogram bags, just makes life easier. So I know that I can add the whole bag. And once we've added this, we will simmer it. And then I need to sterilise the jars, which I'll show you how I do that. So to sterilise the lids, I've got kilner jars with a rubber seal, I've got kilner jars with the screw tops, and I've got a random recycled jar. We're just going to boil them for 5 minutes in water. And for the jars, we've washed them in soapy warm water, rinsed them. I'm not drying them off, and we're going to add them into the oven and leave them for 10 minutes in the oven just to sterilise, dry out. Right, so we're most of the way through cooking in the gooseberries with the sugar. One of my concerns, and this has happened before doing gooseberry jam, is the water content. So even though we put 250 ml of water in there, you get a lot of liquid from the gooseberries themselves, and I like my jam quite thick. Now if you go online and look it up, a lot of places online will say you need to use pectin to thicken up the jam. You don't have to, and pectin's not something I normally have in the cupboards. So another little trick, another tip for you, is you can use corn flour, and if you add it with a little bit of lemon juice instead of water, it gives it an even better sharp taste to the gooseberries to offset the sugar. So I've added some lemon juice in with the corn flour. I'm going to add a little, I'm not going to go mad, so I'm going to add in half of what I had to start with. Because you can add more, you just can't take it away once you've added it. I'm going to add the final amount. I'm going to stir that through. I'm going to keep stirring that for a minute. Once the lids have sterilised for 5 minutes in the boiling water, we can just leave them in there until we're ready to use them. So pretty much there. The last thing we want to do is take a spoon and stir off the scummy bits on the edge of the saucepan, because we don't want that going into our jam. Right, now that I'm happy with that, we're going to get the jars out. Right at the end of cooking, we're going to add in a teaspoon of vanilla and just stir that through. Brilliant, I've just wiped out a whole jar and wasted the jam. Let's try again. It's really frustrating. It doesn't matter too much if you get jam on the edge of the rim, as long as we wipe it dry and clean first before we put the lid on it. So we've got 4, so we would have had 4, but now we've got 3 jars of jam, gooseberry jam, that's going to cool down, and you'll know when they've cooled down fully because these will pop down sealed, and you'll know that you've had a clean seal on them. But that's as easy as it is to make them. I hope you enjoyed that, I hope you found that interesting, I hope that helps you if you've got any berries, because this applies to, the same thing applies to strawberries, blackcurrants, blackberries, any kind of fruit that you want to preserve. The key facts to take away from this is that you need to sterilise your jars. These ones are brilliant. You can buy these at the range. I got these 2 little cute ones with berry shapes on them for £2.50 at the range. They were a Father's Day present from my kids. But you can recycle and use old jars as long as you sterilise and clean the tops off. Thank you for watching, and I'll hopefully see you in a future video. Bye bye.